people think. So, so this is how the game goes in the material world usually. It's very easy to cheat. So our dear Bhakta, or our dear Vaishnava was out there preaching exclusively to women. And Krishna had some mercy. It was unbelievable. Because he was too much of a devotee to just go to some prostitute or just join the game full time. So he was always seeking this kind of, Buddhistic inclined vegetarian, kind of hippie type ladies. In other words, a bhakti candidate. And there he was preaching. And it didn't took long, we had him in a Sunday feast again. With the, Srimati Buddhistic, bhakti candidate. And at that time we had in the temple, every Sunday was 20, 30 Matajis, which were brahmacharinis. So of course, they were just immediately, hey, where are you coming from? And they just kind of bees and wasps, they just flock on here, And ladies usually they join for very simple reasons. They see a bunch of ladies having fun. That's the main thing. They think, whoa, these women have fun. They join because such a dress as sari, it's really for out. Prabhupada said himself, it's the most beautiful dress you can have. It's tricky. It's practical, it's tricky. It's, I don't want to go now in detail what sari can do to a man, but, the biggest maya amongst females I met in India, of course. When you see Indian, they have such a Maya Devis walking around in saris, because sari is a mixture of dress and undress in such a delicate way that it's wow, because when you are just walking naked like the women here, or dressed all the time in black like they go for a funeral, that's pretty ghastly display. But saris come in such a color and quality and silk and wow, and golden thing, and wow, patterns, and shoo, unlimited. So, so they join because of that. And then, wow, and then a beat back, and all this, and then chant. Women can sometimes join so easily. They just do like this. We had bhakti coming like this. So what happened, our dear Paramahamsa preaching out there, he found himself being quite challenged by the very same girlfriend he had, who just told him, this is so nice, you talk all the time, what is it? And he was going, well, it's Bhagavad Gita. Oh, really? Where did this come from? Yeah, well, that's Krishna speaking. Yeah, who is Krishna, And where did you get that book? And then, so what happened, that the girl always joined, and he walked out of the door again, because it was the fish, and it was the sink, and it was... But of course it didn't took long, he found another one, exactly the same type. And again, we had him in a Sunday feast, again. And again the girls, oh! After 1 year, we had a whole Mataji Sankirtan party, created by him. So devotees stopped actually criticizing him. They actually were thinking, well, maybe this is really part of Krishna's plan. They were going, Prabhu, very nice, that's a new one, very nice, bye-bye, like this. And he delivered the whole Sankirtan party to the temple in this way. So Krishna has his humor, yeah. And there is nothing worse that can happen to a man when he preached to a girl, and then anyway, it's the same old game. And then he is in a peak of his lust, he gets to hear that, we are not this body, She is preaching to him, that's really goes for the false ego. It's really too much. You are inspired and the woman goes, I love only Krishna. And you go, well, that's okay, but what about me? Women can really do that. They just can torture you like this. It's completely, opposite to their desire, really. But they can be wonderful. They can preach like this. There are special species of women, they're academically equipped. They can quote and preach like anything. But it's nothing to do with their life. The life is always, hello. It's completely two different things. Men do it also, but it's more simple, more gross. Women can be very intricate. They look very cultured, very, academic, but at the end is anyway, same thing. So, but we got a whole Sankirtan party together like this. So, but to play with Maya like this, dangerous. I don't even know where this devotee is today. Because how long do you want to do this game? Until you are 100 years old or what? You come to an age where this kind of excursion to hunt hippie ladies become highly embarrassing. It's just, there's time for everything. And material nature is designed in such a way that she just takes things away. Therefore, I just heard a lecture from Prabhupada. He said that this is the famous shloka where the sun rising and sun setting is actually a killer for people. The sun is like a killer. He takes away one day of your life. Every time the sun goes up, you are dying one day more. So actually it is described from a materialist, the sun is like a killer. It just takes away your life. Every day is passing by, you can never get it back. But for a devotee, those who hear actually about Krishna and chant Krishna's glories, the sun rising is another opportunity to actually chant that day Krishna's glories. And that, grant them eternal life, because you achieve your eternal existence. So actually the effect is exactly opposite. By using the day for chanting glories of Krishna, you will be granted the eternal existence. By not doing so, well, then you are losing one day of this one lifetime, which ultimately will culminate into death, and that's all taken away. Prabhupada is quite intense on that point, always, explaining. One lecture even he said 7 o'clock and 30 minutes. And he paused. And he said, it's 7 o'clock and 31 minutes. He said, this 1 minute which just passed, you will never get back. It's gone. We don't think like this. We always think, we have so many problems and issues. And meanwhile, the clock is ticking. That's it. And that clock is ticking to a point. Already in my lifetime, how many godbrothers I lost, they're gone. Finished. He died. And some of them were very prominent personalities. Their lives, whenever you become prominent, doesn't matter materially or spiritually, your life becomes very problematic. People get envious, you get opponents, it doesn't matter. Whenever you're prominent, there is some trouble. So much discussion and this and that, and then he was dead. And the discussion died also. Actually, it's fun to die because actually even your enemies become favorable. Because they think, yeah, he's dying, it's nice. Wish you good luck. Actually sometimes people become very favorable when they see he's dying. Because the friends, they are going, oh, so sad, but they are nice because they know the man is dying. And the enemies also. So it's all finished, out. Sometimes you don't even the name. You forgot the issues, you forgot the name. But those actually who serve Krishna, Krishna doesn't forget. So that's actually recorded. So in the material world we experience fame and infame and being known and not known. In Krishna's view we are always known. Krishna is always relating to the conditioned soul. To the devotee, oh, this is somebody exceptional, he's surrendered. He's trying to give some service. Krishna never forgets. So that's actually how one stays also protected from sinful activity, by being engaged in devotional service, because devotional service is self-purifying. Whatever occasionally a sin may be occurred, the only atonement is once again to dive in devotional service again, not stopping it. This is a philosophy which also, after Srila Prabhupada's departure, entered this movement, that no, you first has to fix yourself up. You have to be healthy, wealthy and wise, then you can perform devotional service. First you have to understand all the circumstances, and you have to learn to create favorable circumstances for devotional service, then you can perform devotional service. No, that's not Prabhupada at all. The devotional service in itself creates favorable circumstances. Most favorable you can get. And it's ahituki apratyata. It doesn't depend on any material circumstance. So this is a very dangerous deviation, that this preaching goes more and more that, no, first we have to love each other. First we have to be united. First we have to be emotionally balanced. First we have to be physically improved. And then we can serve Krishna happily. Where is that happening? We would like to see some example of that. Where do you find a group of people who manage to be so nicely, perfectly situated they can finally serve Krishna happily? Where do you find that? Show me. Nowhere. It's always a problem. The solution to the problem is always, service. And service to the mission of Srila Prabhupada. That's the unifying element. That's the improvement for us all, individually and collectively. Nowadays I find places when you speak about mission, people get upset. I got to hear this from one very prominent dignitary. You and your mission all the time, that's pushing the mission. You have to be loving. Yeah, that's great. In a mission, when you really understand the mission, that's automatically included. I'm coming from a generation of devotees, there was no counselors, there was no mediators. Of course they were there, in an automatic way, because it was needed to solve the problem for the sake of the mission. We have to cooperate, we have to keep on going. And of course there was problems, but the same problems are today. I was once going through a mediation, we had some problem with the gallbladder. It was great. The mediation was conducted in such a mundane way that we were both coming from the same generation of devotees. We were both so disgusted, and that united us. When the mediator walked out of the door, he looked at me and he said, "That's completely crazy, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, I think also like that." And then we actually had a long discussion how crazy things can be. We felt very united, because we talked first time, we found a platform we can easily agree. But it's a kind of strange level to agree just on insanity. Yeah, it's so insane, isn't it? Yes, I also think it's insane. It's not exactly the most positive platform to unite, that we all believe this is so insane. No, we should unite positively on a level, oh, this is sane, let's do that. So sane and insane, who is going to define it? Finally only Srila Prabhupada. And the task or the mission he gave us. This is the means to become sane. Outside of that, only insanity prevails. And everybody starts to push his own concept and his idea. You will always find it in Krishna Consciousness too. There's somebody coming around who will have a big revelation. This is the key to the problem. Here comes the solution. But how many of the solutions we heard, and they kind of evaporate, and after a while everything is back to normal again, moving from one problem to another, being still tortured by the remnants of sinful activities, by the reactions for sinful activities. That karma is always still rolling on, causing us to do sometimes things which are not very desirable in Krishna consciousness, but that's life. We are all, it's like in a hospital. You don't expect everybody being healthy in a hospital, rather opposite. The proof that he's in a hospital is that he's sick. And some people have more fever, some people less fever, sometimes even the doctor gets affected. He gets infected and he gets fever too. The question is, are we taking the medicine or not? If somebody stops taking medicine and considers himself supremely healthy, marching around the corridors of the hospital, showing, I'm completely okay, but he has 40-degree fever, then the hospital turns into lunatic asylum. It's actually a crazy house. Because crazy means that you think that you are not crazy. That's really crazy in a material world. But once one realizes the nature of this world, realizes the disease, then one will be also eager to take the medicine, and then Krishna says, such a person should be considered saintly. Even he sometimes has a little fever coming back and acts weird, because he is so eager to take the medicine. He should be considered saintly. So this is how we try to become sane in this world, and this is how we try to be disentangled from this process of continuous punishment being imposed upon us due to our past activities. Input some comments? Huh?
Totally agree.
Huh?
Totally agree.
Some more holds the decoration. Therefore, it's so nice to be with devotees who are honest, you know, because you get inspired to be more honest. When you are with cheaters, you get, you think, well, what can you do with a cheater? Some people insist to cheat themselves and others so intensely. Well, you can only cheat him too. if he wants to have it like this, and it's bad. You should not do that. So naturally, there will be birds of the same feather flock together. Naturally, people are instinctively drawn to each other by the level of hypocrisy. And material world means just hypocrisy. Everybody talks, pretends, not able to address the real need of the conditioned soul. This desperate loneliness and isolation we feel, and this, this despair, because the desires are actually generated from a spiritual platform. Desire is a constitutional quality of the soul, but unfortunately they are projected into the material field, and then we meet all the confusion and frustration, but the desire in itself is not bad. I think it was Rupa Goswami who said that actually the origin of sin is the ignorance about Krishna. If you would know what a person Krishna is really, it would be so easy. It's like when Prabhupada was around, he was reflecting Krishna so nicely. It was not very difficult to abstain from certain things. It wasn't very difficult not to be sinful. Because the purity was so accommodating, he emanated. And it was so natural. People were forgetting to act sinfully in his presence instantly. It was so easy. Because for him, he was the embodiment of that. He showed us, what's the problem? Like Prahlad Maharaj is saying, it's so easy to serve Krishna. What do? You chant Hare Krishna. Look at the activities we are doing here. Practically all of them. They are very simple. We don't do it even good. There are karmis who can better cook. There are karmis who can better clean. There are karmis who can better publish books. There are karmis who can do better things. But for what? For nothing. And what do they publish and cook? Rubbish. So we should not be proud that we are so expert. Really, we are not. But what makes us special is because we are trying to do it for Krishna.
Yeah. I was wondering, because you mentioned with this example of the one hippie Machiki who got swallowed by the crowd, and people what drags them in is the fun and the feeling of happiness that there is in Krishna consciousness. I very much have this problem when I'm preaching, that I've become better at being detached to how they respond, but then as soon as I see that there is some interest and there is some intelligence and they actually want to know, then I get attached and then I really want them to understand it.
And it's a more mild form of attachment. But it's an attachment, yeah. And one has to be careful. One has to always remain a level of detachment. This was amazing of Prabhupada. He could be so involved, He was like, oh, really? But he wasn't. He could just in 1 second, devotees had this experience in public view. Prabhupada was back home, back to Korea. He wasn't there. They were all, oh, what happened? He's gone. That was the amazing thing about Prabhupada. We always knew that he is with Krishna all the time. And he's just visiting him. But visiting doesn't mean to be casual or to be dishonest or to be superficial. Visiting, he was seriously visiting us. But still visiting. So this kind of being swallowed by the action, that happens, yeah. So some used to call it. Sometimes we simply keep on rolling. You know, you get kind of involved with the action, like when you meet a person in mode of passion, right? Just imagine you meet somebody who's always waving his arm into your face and, yeah, this is great, ooh, ha. So when you associate with probably you will get a little bit influence. You always go, no. After a while, he takes you on the right in the same modes he is in. And it's needed. On Sankirtan, you have to do it like that. On Sankirtan, you are like an actor, like a player. You enter the stage, this pathetic, illusory stage of material world. And you have to play the role so you can transmit the thing to them. Could give you a tour from just in Germany, from Hamburg up to Lörrach. That's the last town next to Basel in the south. I can give you a tour. Every town, naturally you will assume a mode of behavior so that people can, because they are locally conditioned. Hamburg, try. Even the German, the donation means Spende, but they don't say sh in Hamburg. They hiss like snakes. Spende, no spende. They are like a fascistic, cold-hearted Mayavadis. Here in the north, they are kind of, natural Mayavadis, peaceful, cool, non-existent. But in Germany they are still full action, but total Mayavada. That's Hamburg. It's ghastly. It's just. I was only a few times distributing there. I never revisited the town again. But there are devotees living there who are completely happy. They are from Hamburg. They think it's a beautiful town. Then you travel down. I can give you a whole tour. Let's say you arrive somewhere in a little castle. Castle is a town, which is just offices. And they are all like clerks. They all walk around. Lunchtime. And then you just have to present the book like this. Like you are selling them some file with documents. Yes, this is good for the office. You can put it next to the files like this. But, have to be quick, fast, efficient. Yes, the work is done. Donation, thank you very much. Bye-bye. One word too much, the whole thing is ruined. You distribute books in basically 3-4 minutes, that's the maximum time you have. They are busy. Then you come to Baden-Baden, it's like German Monte Carlo. It's just casinos. And there's always these old ladies with these big diamond necklaces and earrings. Even the dogs have earrings. And they walk around. We end up distributing books like I remember Baden-Baden. This really dry people going for the playing card. The ladies, they are so old and they are so with such a heavy makeup. When they smile, it cracks. Such a layer of cards. And then we used to distribute like this. Madam? Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Like the waiter, in a restaurant, the towel hanging here or there. Yes, madam. Yoga. It's very good. Meditation, yoga, very good. Very good. Is it about yoga? Yeah. Yoga. Good for her. Yoga. Yeah. It's like completely crazy. Then you come to Freiburg, where there are all kinds of esoteric people collect. It's a university city. So then it becomes more colorful. And at the end, you arrive in Lörrach, that's Swiss. Swiss means actually farmers. Our previous GBC used to call Swiss people a bunch of farmers who got too much money. They are like, they buy the books like you buy bread. Good. You can be happy they don't smear butter on it, Very basic, very basic. Nothing complicated about it. So you have to adjust the modes as you travel around. But it's nothing to do with you. You can do anything. Except for Sankirtan devotees usually are quite good actors. They can play anything, they know. It's just, they are free of this Kanishta Adhikari pathos. I am a Vaishnava and I have to act like this and be like that. You can be any damn thing you want. What is this to do with your devotional service? Once you are situated in that consciousness, I am eternal servant of Krishna, you can be any damn thing. So what? It's anyway everybody playing a role. Nobody is for real. The soul is for real. So you don't get blinded by the external appearance. And this is real realization. I am not this body. It's not just some kind of academic thing. I am not this body. That's for real. All these girls you meet and all this kind of woo, sometimes just watch your senses. You know, mother and daughter going shopping. Watch where your senses go. Of course. You go there, as our previous Buddhists used to say, the senses always go there where the fat is more rightly placed. It's the same fat. It's just in the mother's case, the fat is a little bit, it moved. And in a daughter's case, it's kind of shaped still. It's in shape. So we think, this is beautiful. This is not so beautiful. It's just a location of fat. A few years down the line, the fat is somewhere else. We have the story of liquid beauty, you know that story? It's good, you're listening quite nicely because you know all these stories already in such a short time. So this is what it is. So only by superior knowledge you can overcome this cheating, this trickery. Maya is playing them. But of course the senses will. You know what Prabhupada said? Prabhupada said, I also think and I know there are many beautiful girls in this movement. I can see that. But you Americans always plan further. That's the difference. So the information delivered by the senses, it's it's nothing special. Yeah, the senses tell you, oh look! Wow! And then what? Then it should be the intelligence there going, okay, the fat is rightly placed. And that's it. It stops on this point. But provoked by lust, and starts to make plans. What about if I could get like this and ooh? And then the real trouble starts. So intelligence, so Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is only for intelligent people. Because the intelligence rings the bell. Thank you for the information. Bye-bye. If this is understood, then we are also free from this fanatical, thing. Fanaticism means fear. It's based always on fear. Inability to understand. If people don't understand something, they become fanatics. The more you understand, the less you need the need to become fanatical or something. Fanaticism means no brain. Shudras like to be fanatical because they have no brain and it's so easy to follow. Just go, and that's it. And they are feeling very good about it, to flock together like sheep. They are all sheep together, following the big sheep. They are really happy about this. That's how you make revolutions. So we are supposed to maintain the intelligence level, cultivate it, just to grow. It's a brain-giving movement. So in the presence of the agitation, and when the fat is rightly placed, we still know. And then we have this merciful Grihastha ashram, which is arranged that, if you still go, then okay, then have a taste. Why not? But it's just another way to realize, to come close to reality. The whole life, especially for a devotee who is carrying a big amount of mercy, you can be sure he will not make it. Anyone clear that?